Mike, your domain has been steadily increasing, really, as mobile itself expands. So can you give us the latest as to what you're covering now, what you're focusing on?
Yeah, and am I on? Sounds like I'm on. So yes, I cover mobile, and that essentially means I cover several areas, because mobile is subdividing into all of these different evolving areas, and a lot of those come back to local, which is, of course, where B.I. Kelsey lives. So I won't go down the full list, but a few representative examples are things like location-based ad targeting, how that's evolving, how mobile's really driving call monetization and pay-per-call models, as Abba just alluded to for our Day 3 session. And then the topic that I'm going to spend a little time zeroing in on today, which is payments, because, of course, mobile payments has the potential to close that attribution loop to really create a trackable path to conversion, which is really the holy grail of local advertising.
And what 2 or 3 things in your space are, most interesting to the conference?
Sure. So if you go ahead one slide, one thing I'm looking at, and the 2 or 3 things you're asking about, really branch out from mobile payments, particularly Apple Pay, because that's what everyone's kind of talking about. It's really kind of shown a mainstream light on the whole area of mobile payments. And I've been using it all over town with a few different hats on, as a consumer, as an analyst, as a tech geek. And I've made some interesting observations, I think. And I think that everyone's looking at this in a very kind of myopic way, because Apple Pay, I think, needs to be looked at on 2 different levels. One of which is kind of what everyone's talking about, the retail physical point of sale. So purchasing things everywhere from Walgreens to Macy's and the place that accepts it. And the second reason that I don't think has got enough attention, but I'll zero in on a bit here, is on-demand local services, which is buying things in-app, which are then fulfilled locally. So things like everything from getting an Uber ride to getting someone to come over to my house right now to walk my dog. And that's really splintering into so many different verticals. We're going to have a session about this later. So let's take those one at a time briefly. So the physical POS kind of application of Apple Pay, I'm a little bit more bearish on, because the most discernible value proposition at this time is to tap instead of swipe a credit card. And I don't believe that's enough of a compelling difference to change what is otherwise a very entrenched consumer habit. How we pay for things is very rooted in these very habitual and user comfort level factors. And then also, if you quantify the adoption metrics, the iPhone right now is about 13% of mobile device or smartphone penetration. That's further subdivided by iPhone 6 ubiquity, which is a small percentage of that. And that really won't reach meaningful ubiquity, I believe, until about a year from now, or at least to the level that it's going to compel merchants on the other side of the equation to invest in upgrading their point of sale hardware to be compatible with Apple Pay. So it's kind of a chicken and egg game. So in the meantime, before that chicken and egg situation plays out, if you go to the next slide, where I believe Apple Pay's nearer term kind of impact is going to reside is that other area I mentioned, where buying things in-app that are then fulfilled offline, because those physical POS hurdles don't really exist in that kind of more virtual space. And the point here is this on-demand local economy, everything from Uber for dog walking to IKEA assembly, to even weed delivery is another one I heard of recently. I mean, it's really going to a lot of areas. And it's actually the area of technology that's gotten the most amount of VC investment in the last 2 quarters. And it's really upending the local services economy. Again, we're going to have a session on this later. But the point is, and this is where Apple Pay ties in, is that as we use more and more of these apps, there's going to be that kind of fragmentation that compels what I like to call a unification layer to access all of these different apps. Instead of transacting with each one individually, having an authentication layer that is at the OS level that provides one point of entry. You can think of that analogous to what Facebook has done for social sign-on with Facebook Connect. So this is really the Facebook Connect of payments. It's really going to, I think, be a solid unification layer, as I'm calling it, because the marks of any good unification layer are, 1, being trusted, and Apple has that through the kind of brand equity it has, and 2, easy. And through the Touch ID interface, it's certainly a very kind of slick tool to do that. So bottom line is that this OLDS area is where we're going to see Apple Pay's nearer term impact, while the chicken and egg challenges of the physical POS realities kind of fall into place over time.